Ja, herzlich willkommen wieder bei GROBITV, unserem Heimkinokanal. Ich sage ganz ehrlich, ich bin ein bisschen nervös, weil ich bin hier doch in sehr interessanter, illustrer Gesellschaft. Neben mir ist Marcel Gonska vom WLC. Ihr kennt ihn sicherlich wegen 4K. Und dann haben wir hier unseren Stargast, das ist Joe Kane. Joe Kane ist aus Amerika. Und Joe, the best is, I think you can introduce by yourself, ne?
Yes. I like to tell people my business is display standards. I teach people how to get good pictures from electronic display devices. I have been in this business since 1973. I got my start at Eastman Kodak, where we were trying to make film look good on television.
Okay.
So I have a great deal of experience in working in what is a good picture and determining what is a good picture. What does it take to produce a good picture? And I've been trying to help people produce good pictures for my entire career.
Okay, and you're a partner, you're working together with White Light Consulting?
Exactly. So in the past we did a lot of lectures and education programs. At the time being we don't do that much because we are also busy with all other things. UHD, that's why we all are here today.
Yes.
So maybe this is the right way to play back the ball to you.
Joe, yeah, you were visiting the IFA.
Yes.
And you were visiting the IBC in Amsterdam.
Absolutely.
Both are very interesting exhibitions, I think. The one is more for the end user, and the other one is more for the professional people which are behind the camera.
Yes.
And that was the IBC. So what is your impression when we think about 4K?
Well, I'd like to start with the production side and say that the production side is really enthusiastic about this ultra high definition format. And by the way, I'm calling the current version of it 2160p just for clarification so that when that number comes out, it follows the convention of 1080p. The next one is 2160p. So I'm still using the traditional way of calling the system instead of the new way. That said, the community, the post-production community, the production community is really enthusiastic about the format. The whole show was all about 4K, is what they're calling it. Incidentally, in the broadcast world, it is a legitimate 4K. In the consumer world, it's 2160p. There is a difference between the way things are produced and the way they will be distributed. But the community is, the production community is really enthusiastic about getting started. As an example, we take soccer. Now, if I'm shooting at 4 times the resolution of 1080p, I can shoot a field shot and I can have a camera locked down on the entire field. If I'm broadcasting in 1080p, afterwards I can follow the ball exactly, and I can follow the ball at 1080p resolution. So a cameraman might miss something that would be happening if he's trying desperately to follow. So among the things that's going to happen is in sports, we're going to be producing everything in the 2160p format, and then initially for broadcast what they're going to do is they're going to take sections out of it so that you don't miss anything, so that you can actually go back and you will see it at full 1080p resolution. So there are many reasons for re-outfitting your system and starting to produce at 2160p. So from that point of view, the IBC was all about, oh my gosh, you got to have it. You have to have the infrastructure. There were people that were selling editing systems for it. There were people that were selling switchers for it. The infrastructure to put it all together was at the show. And everybody was encouraged to buy new, buy more stuff, get started, and produce content for this format.
But what is the reason that I have it not tomorrow on my television?
Something called distribution.
No, really?
something called that pipe. That pipe has to be a little bit larger to fit 4 times the resolution. I believe right now there may be copyright issues or copy protection issues would be better. But the biggest thing right now is the pipe isn't there. That getting it to you, the DVB, as an example, is trying to work out how they would handle broadcasting the format. The satellite providers are already figuring out how to do it. We found out this past April when we were in the United States that the satellite providers have figured out how to get the larger bandwidth down the satellite. And now comes the challenge of what system do we use to compress this huge amount of data into something that will fit into the pipe.
Because, and this is exactly the reason, the broadcasters, they say, we want to send high quality video, but we don't want to do it with 4 times the bandwidth as we do today.
Yes.
Because they don't want to pay for all the money, so the money has to come back.
But I remember that we were on the IFA too, and we were working together with the Sky guys, and the Sky were very proud to demonstrate us a new HAVC standard. So it seems to be that there is a standard, but the hardware is not available to compress it for live signals. That's one of the problems, bottlenecks.
That's my point. The distribution right now is part of the bottleneck. Now, to be honest with you, the fact that at IBC everybody's enthusiastic about buying doesn't mean that everybody has already bought.
Yeah.
I
just looking.
Yes. Well, they're doing much more than looking.
Okay.
But it's still going to take them time to get it, put it together, install it, record it, and then figure out how to get it down the pipeline.
We spoke before about the HDMI standard or the Ultra HD, what is it called? Ultra HD 4K standard.
Or
there is
HDMI 2.0.
HDMI 2.0. And you told me that there are some points which needs to be discussed.
Yes.
So
discuss. I know.
Let's discuss it.
Let's discuss. Can we discuss this?
Yeah.
Can we talk?
Yes, please.
The format isn't quite what people in the industry would have liked to have it be. That you already know the HDMI 1.4 can convey 2160p at 24 hertz or 30 hertz. Those are relatively slow rates because, boy, we like our stuff at 50 or 60.
Yeah.
And of course, it can only do it at 8-bit. And I don't know if that's getting too geeky, but it's not enough. There are not enough steps in the dynamic range between the black and white to convey the information that's in the signal. And so HDMI 2.0 attempted to fix that. So at the original frequencies, 24 and 30, they are providing an ability to do 10 bits, and they're providing an ability to do red, green, and blue instead of the component signal YCRCB. So as far as 24 and 30, HDMI 2.0 has gone quite a bit further in allowing a higher quality 24 or a higher quality 30. Now the system allows for 60, but it allows for 60 at a seriously cut back resolution. So if you were to get a picture at 60 hertz or 50, it wouldn't look anywhere near as good as if you got a picture at 30. Okay. And that is something that is unforgivable. My opinion.
You think so? Okay.
I mean, so what they said is, okay, we're going to give you the 24 and the 30 that you've already had, but we're going to give it to you at a much better quality. But oh, by the way, when you want to go to 50 or 60, you can't have that quality anymore.
Okay, the 50 and the 60 I need for, as an example, television.
Sports,
yeah. Yeah, okay. I understand, yeah. But that's the most important
thing. Or live broadcast. Yeah. Even if it's the news, they're going to do it in 50 or 60. They're not going to do it in 24.
Or, when we look at the production side, even motion pictures are shot in high frame rate lately.
You think so?
That means that...
certainly some of them are.
Some of them are. And there is a legitimate request also to provide that high frame rate when the movie was shot in that high frame rate also for the home video.
Okay, like The Hobbit.
For example.
As an example.
That's certainly an example in 3D, but James Cameron has gone out of his way.
He likes to go higher, huh?
Well, yes, but he's gone out of his way to prove that 60 hertz 2D is much better than it's vastly superior, but then that's been proven many times in the past with other formats.
So you think that now is the time to make the standard really directly on the right way? That means this is the time to do it now and not in, it is a must to have.
Well, it is, as far as I'm concerned, it's past time to do it. In other words,
of course,
not enough consideration was given to what this is all about. There was initially the theory that all we have to do is increase resolution and it's going to be saleable.
Okay, understand.
This is what we had in our last discussion.
Yeah.
So UHD means not just more pixels, it means much better pixels.
Yes.
So it's all about what
Colors,
color, frame rate,
moving frame rates, resolution,
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
And when you start doing that, it becomes a new television system. I mean, we don't have specifications for higher bit rates. In our current television system, it's an 8-bit system, and the color is limited, the grayscale is fixed. So actually, right now, I'm working with the American Society of Cinematographers, who's looking at this and saying, okay, the 2160p format really isn't defined, and it isn't. Despite the fact that there are documents out there, those documents don't work. And besides the point, if we just followed those documents, it wouldn't be enough to get consumers to come in and buy.
Okay.
There needs to be much more to ultra high definition in order to get every consumer excited about coming in and buying. So among the things that we're doing is we're looking at what could be done besides higher resolution. What could be done to make this format highly attractive to every consumer? So we're looking at things like changing the color of gray, changing the primary colors. We're looking at changing gamma. Every single parameter that we know of that defines video today is on the table and is being discussed for change. Now, there's legitimate reasons for doing this. All of our technology up to this point is based on the CRT. If anybody remembers back that far, we used to have CRTs.
Yeah.
And even our high definition technology is based on that display device. Well, nobody's using a CRT today. And each of the new technologies that have come along to replace it have had individual capabilities within each kind of technology to do things far better than the CRT. So the question becomes, isn't it time to create a whole new system that can take advantage of what we have as display technology today? And when I say everything is on the table, part of everything being on the table for writing a whole new television system is the fact that we have much more capability today than we ever had in the past. And so why not incorporate that capability into a new standard?
But who's responsible to make this new standard? Is it a group of HDMI? Is it a group of manufacturers? Who's responsible to do this? Are you this?
Actually, yeah. Actually, you have influencing people, of course, but you know there are different working groups, like the EBU, the European Broadcasting Union. They have a working group for UHD. SMPTE, which is the SMPTE, Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers.
There are a lot of groups, it seems to be. Groups, it's not only one group for the world market, because European guys are different than the American.
And the ASC is one of them. The American Society of Cinematographers is one of them that wants input.
But there is a huge exchange between the working groups. So that means EBU people are attending SMPTE meetings, SMPTE people are attending EBU meetings. So just to make sure that the BBC is doing a lot of research, as an example.
But this is a national television company.
It's a national television company, but it's the largest in Europe.
They have
and
good
they have
influence.
a huge R&D department. So it's all about science at the moment.
And the Germans are in the last row, because the Germans are...
No, absolutely
by no
not.
means. The Fraunhofer Institute is an example in
Fraunhofer,
in Munich.
Yeah.
They're actively involved. You have a number of production companies here in Germany that are actively involved. So no, Germany is not by any means. Anyway, they're actively involved as well. So that
especially in the work of EBU. And of course also in at the SMPTE meetings. So everywhere.
Yeah, but you had a little bit the feeling that Germans are a little bit more conservative, because we have the 720p. No, that was one of the points where they discussed why we have 720p and not 1080 and so on. And that's
but you have to understand that in the United States, I heavily supported 720p. 720p is vastly superior to 1080i. And it's easy to prove that it's superior. And we had the conflict in the United States as well. The Federal Communications Commission initially said that 720p wasn't high definition until they saw it.
Really?
And then once they saw it...
But nothing changed.
Well, no.
1080e is the standard, I think.
No.
Is the difference? Depends on the...
No, absolutely not. In the United States, we have a number of networks that are broadcasting in 720p. So 720p is a common format in the United States.
Especially for sports, as an example?
Yes, of course. Yeah. ESPN, ABC, Fox, they're all doing sports in 720p.
But they are filming in 1080p and then they're converting to 720p, or what's going on?
All right. In program content, scripted, what we call scripted programs, where we actually have actors performing. Most scripted content is shot at 1080p 24.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's converted to what, if it's 720p 60 or if it's 1080i 60, the 1080p 24 is converted to whatever format is being broadcast. Now, 720p 24 is a format that could be broadcast. And among the difficulties in the United States, one of the networks had decided, oh my gosh, it would be far more efficient if we broadcast 1080p 24 when our program content is created at that rate. And so at a Consumer Electronics show, they did a test. You know, there's an RF distribution system. So they distributed 720p 24. What they discovered is a number of manufacturers, about a third of the manufacturers that built receivers didn't include a capability to do 720p 24.
So they didn't support the standard.
So basically the network said, gee, a third of the manufacturers that are on this show floor, as much as they said they were supporting it, they never knew that they weren't supporting it until somebody tried to use it.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is absolutely...
Sounds crazy, huh?
No, it's not, because there was no source of it. They didn't know how to test for it. And until somebody actually tested, they didn't know that they weren't supporting it. But the network said, we can't have a third of what's out there not being able to receive our signal. So the network never adopted 1080p 24. But we were on the verge of doing that in the United States for broadcast.
Okay.
So getting back to UHD, because I think that's the main subject
here. That's the main thing.
But
why?
Well, because it's cool, because it's nice. No, the thing is this, I think
it's more pixels.
We're going to have, let's say, different transitions and different phases of introduction of UHD, okay? So the EBU at the moment is talking about calling it UHD1 with, let's say, 50 and 60 frames per second, which still has a colorimetry that is supporting the typical HD colors. Because at the moment, as Joe already pointed out, you cannot reproduce the color space that is recommended in the ITU BT 2020 document. You would need to use a complete different display technology, which actually isn't there at the moment, yes, to create that sort of colors.
As display technology means LCD, as an example. What's about OLED? What's about OLED?
Well, it means every technology.
Every technology, every flat panel technology.
Every technology.
Well, every projection, anything that can display a picture.
Okay.
We aren't, none of those technologies, any technology that can display a picture that is commonly available is not set up to handle this new declared format, ITU 2020.
Yeah, okay.
So what we do in the post-production is that, for example, with our partners in content production, we do color correction to the HD standard. So we use the same gamma curve as HD, we use the same color space as HD, but we use the higher resolution and use high frame rate, like 60 frames, to shoot it. But in the end of the day, you end up with a very nice, decent picture, but it is not yet where it will be in the future, because the standard, as we discussed in the beginning, have to be fixed so that we have the next television system that is going to work for the next 30 years.
So, if you define the new standard, what's about the cable standards? We need to change something, or what happened?
No. Our television system is a communication system, and it's a bunch of rules about how we produce a program and how we reproduce a program. In other words, the video system defines how we create a program and how we reproduce the program. Now, those rules were created based on CRT technology. They have nothing to do with the cable.
Yeah.
They have, we just assume somehow it's going to get from here to there.
No, okay, sorry, that was a misunderstanding. The other thing is when we have a source, like we have content, I buy content like 4K, like online, I have no idea. You think we will have it at first online, or we will have a new Blu-ray standard maybe for the future? What happened then? We have a player and we need a new cable standard. What's about DisplayPort? We heard sometimes about something about this.
Well, obviously, we've already talked about the pipeline needs to be also defined.
Yeah.
But part of because the answer to what you're the answer to the question you're asking is much larger than I think you might imagine.
We have a long batteries full, and we have 2 SD cards. Yeah, no problem.
All right. Here's what's going on. We need to start with the fact that we need to change the communication system. We need to change the rules by which the program content is created. And we need to change those rules to accommodate what display technology can do today versus what the CRT can do. Yeah. So the reality of ultra-high definition, in my opinion, is that we've got to develop a whole new video system. So everything we know today actually will have to be included in the new system because we have a whole bunch of stuff already out there that has to be usable. But the new system has got to be able to go beyond that. Better color capability, better definition, more steps between black and white. And so that we have finer gradation, so we don't have contouring in pictures. So we have nice smooth edges instead of stepped edges in people's faces, as an example. That should be part of the new system. We should be able to get better pictures. Now, resolution alone, you need to be at a viewing distance of 1.8 times the picture height. That's about the maximum distance you can be away from the set and appreciate, oh my gosh, look at all the extra resolution that's in that picture. If you get further back, you can't see that resolution. So if you're sitting further back, you're not going to appreciate this new high resolution system. So we believe, and I mean there's a greater community of people, I'm one of them, that believes the system has to be more than just resolution to be attractive. It would be neat if it had a better color capability, if it had larger color capability. It would be really neat if we could fix the gradations that happen in people's faces and make them smooth instead of stepped. So there's a whole bunch of things that we want to do that would upgrade the system so that UHD TV would truly be a serious change and improvement over what is currently being done. So as I've mentioned, all these parameters, whether it's grayscale, whether it's gamma, all the things that Marcel has talked about, those are now on the table for discussion. OLED as an example, if we want to do high dynamic range, right now the OLEDs that I've played with have a 10-to-1 ratio in dynamic range. Now what that means is if I have a small area of white, like fireworks going off, or the reflection off a surface, a tiny area where it has, we can get 10 times the light output out of an OLED set as we would if the whole set was white. So we now have a potential with that technology of getting high dynamic range so that we can really make you feel like you're outside, or when there's a reflection off a piece of metal like a car or whatever, we can really make you feel like, oh my gosh, that's happening, it's real. Mm-hmm. We'd like to make that another part of ultra high definition television. Now, OLED will actually accommodate that, but we need to know how to predict how it accommodates and write rules that say, okay, here's how you might take advantage of OLED to make a high dynamic range set. Then we have to say, well, OLED might be able to do it naturally, but gee, we've got to make every other display technology do the same thing. So the other technologies are fixed. They don't have the variability that OLED does. So how do we build variability into the system so that every other technology can play the same trick that we can get with OLED technology? That's a new television system.
Okay, it sounds to be a lot of work, huh?
Well,
also, I know that there's a lot of background information we got here, so the normal end user would say, hey, what's going on there? What will happen for me personally?
So, yeah, right. So I think what we might talk about now is like a little bit about the advantage the end user might have today.
Yeah.
Based on a television that has the UHD resolution, like UHD1.
Yeah.
And also where this all goes, probably, also with future-proof technology and so on and so on. So, hey, what's your impression?
The most important thing about the format as it exists today is it is surprising even professional people who produce in that format. In other words, they have rare opportunities to look at their own work at a resolution that truly reflects the resolution in which they're capturing it. In other words, they often look at their material at 1080p even if they are capturing it at 4K. So when cinematographers come into my home and look at their content on my 2160p set, they recognize they are seeing things in their pictures that they've never seen before. Now, how does that apply to the consumer? The consumer right now is shooting ultra high definition pictures with their iPhones.
Still cameras, so iPhone, smartphones and so on. Yeah, okay.
I mean, consumers now are shooting resolution that's appropriate for that format.
Okay.
And the thing is, they're never actually going to see the picture as it was taken until they get one of these sets.
Okay, that's the first time that they can see the true, completely resolution and everything.
It's the first time they're going to be able to see what they shot. Yeah. And as much as some cinematographers have been, oh my gosh, look at all the stuff that's in that picture, the consumers are going to do the same thing. They're going to look at pictures they think they know well, and they're going to look at them on this new ultra high definition TV set, and they're saying, oh my gosh, there is so much more in that picture than I've ever seen before. People who play games, the output of some of the gaming systems are now in 2160p. And people are going to look at the output of games and say, oh my gosh, this game is so much more exciting, look at it. Because the graphics have been done at that resolution. The graphics are capable of running at that resolution. It's going to be a lot more fun to play those games.
You think on PC, sorry, a PC and PlayStation and so, or you think on PC is not a problem to have it in this resolution normally?
Yeah,
no?
in a PC it's not a problem because there have been video cards that will do this resolution much longer than there have been TV sets to play it on.
Yeah, okay.
So the video cards supported it long before the displays existed. Yeah. And I'm now finding there are ways of getting it out of the video card and into the TV set. I've yet to try it, but I now have ideas of how I'm going to do that at home. And if it works, it basically means whether it's your photographs or whether it's your games, you're going to be able to take advantage of that set from the day that you buy it. So it will give you something that you don't have now if you step into it now. I do believe, like everything, it is going to change. And if any consumer goes into buying something with the idea that this is it, this is the last one I'm ever going to buy, they haven't been paying attention to the consumer world for the last few years.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's going to change. And I don't, I mean, that's an accepted fact.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's practice.
I'm sorry,
That's the truth.
I'm no philosopher when I'm foreseeing when I say it's going to change. Yeah. It is going to change. So no matter when you step in, at some point in the future, it is going to be something different. The question is there value in it today? And the biggest value I see in the format today is what we already have. We have games and we have pictures, and that's the newest thing that can actually take advantage of the format and deliver something that someone hasn't seen before. Of course I can upconvert any of my movies.
Upscaling, that's one of the main things.
This was what I want to say. So beside the fact that when you look at the numbers and about the predicted sales in, let's say, screen sizes, so 50-inch plus is the new size. People are moving into this direction at home.
Yeah.
And so at the specific point, the living room stays the same. So the room size is the same. So what happens if you want to increase the screen size, you also have to increase the resolution.
Yeah.
So there is also, in this case, there is a benefit in having a larger screen at home. Gives you much more entertaining factor. And when you play back a good altered Blu-ray, this is going to look really good if the TV manufacturer does a good job in scaling. Hopefully does, Joe, huh?
Well, and there is something else that I actually find really funny, because 1080p to 2160p is effectively the line doubler technology. It's binary multiplication. It's technology that has been around for at least 20 years. It's actually really easy to convert 1080p to 2160p. It's just you multiply both the vertical and the horizontal by 2. It's a doubler. You know, you double the vertical and double the horizontal.
Of course, yeah, but some manufacturers say we do a little bit more than only simple line doubling and so on. I saw on the IFA, I saw different results.
Well, yes, and no, and I know that everybody is going to add their secret sauce.
Yeah, of course. Everybody makes his own secret chip.
Everybody has to, because they have no claim to fame if they haven't added their secret sauce. But in my opinion, being able to convert from 1080p to 2160p is a really easy conversion to do well.
Okay, but on the other side, the result could be different. Depends on the brands and so. That's the point.
Totally agree.
Yeah, of course.
I totally agree that you know, anything can be messed up.
Yeah. That's the point.
You can mess up anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how easy it is. You can still mess it up.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to tell you that somebody won't mess it up,
no.
but
I tell no names.
Yes, no, there's never any names. We never accuse anybody of anything, but it should be an easy conversion to do well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the point? What's going on now? We are now in where we are now. We are now in September 2013. So you think in the next 12 months will happen a lot in this technology field?
Yeah, I personally I think there will happen a lot. That's what I think. Simply because we have a lot of working group meetings in the next few months when it comes to standardization discussions. Also, we have now HDMI 2.0 is there, but many people don't know all the facts, because even at IFA show they just partially reveal some of the information on the new standard. So we will see how all that works out, especially when manufacturers talk about upgrade capability. So having an older HDMI interface in the TV, but saying now they can do some sort of software upgrade for at least supporting 2160 with P with 60 frames or 50 frames. So we will see how that works, because I'm curious to see if that all works out the way it is supposed to work out. So it will be very exciting. And we're going to see a very, very quick market change in UHD, because when we look at the prices today, 3,000 euros retail price was predicted at IFA from a couple of manufacturers, so as the starter, which means that probably full HD displays are going away in that screen size, and they will be replaced by UHD displays. So there will be a quick saturation of UHD displays in German homes or in European households, the same in the US. So that means there is a move already. It's already started. So the question is how can we catch up with the standardization process, and how can we make sure that in the time being we deliver enough content for the consumer so that they can start watching stuff at home. So that means maybe not through Blu-ray 4K or UHD Blu-ray, which is something that else needs to be discussed, that takes the time, or satellite transmission with a set-top box. But we can bring content on a USB stick or a hard drive. We can plug it into the TV and we can play it back, because there are TV manufacturers that already announced they have media player capability.
Supports 4K.
So you could deliver stuff to the homes, and if you deliver good quality, people will be very happy. So we have to make sure we have a good transition phase.
I heard you are now around about 4 weeks here in Europe, no? That's right?
Yes.
So if you come back to, you can see the new Sony online servers, because they start last week, I heard, and have around about 70 films, movies, which are available online. So give us a call.
Yes.
How it looks like.
Let you know. Yes.
How
yes.
it looks. But that's one way to distribute the 4K content. That's the easiest way, I think.
Right.
Huh?
Right. And actually, I actually believe that you'll see a number of TV set manufacturers providing servers, and then
they're working on it,
providing content. I believe that it will be a number of them and not just one.
They have to, because if they do not offer content, there is no justification to buy a TV.
What's about Apple as an example? Because Apple, no, when Apple is starting with 4K, it could be. Is there no rumor in the market?
I'm not in a position to comment on that, but so I don't know. I don't know what Apple will be doing. I'm not connected with Apple.
But would be helpful, no? Like if a company like this would say, "Hey, we are starting with 4K content."
But I also believe it would be helpful if Warner Brothers or Disney or yes, I believe it would be helpful if one of those companies also just decided that we're going to deliver 4K
maybe following
content.
Sony. Maybe they are now following because they see how it works with Sony.
Yes, I should have included Sony Studios in that.
Because they are the first. Yeah, but they are the first.
Yes,
they are doing this now.
Yes.
Well, the issue is this. Content is one thing, but the problem with content is always the licensing and right situation.
Of course, yeah.
So the legal issues. And if you have one company that is providing content in the US, that does not mean they can offer the same service in Europe.
No, of course, completely different.
That is the biggest issue.
Yeah, that's
so there has to be a lot of rights clearing, there has to be a lot of licensing discussions and legal discussions, just to make sure that we can sort out and make a decision who might be available or who could offer content to watch at home. And then there is also the difference: do I deliver high quality premium products, or do I just deliver, let's say, something to watch? Okay, it is very nice to have like YouTube 4K, UHD timescapes, whatever, but you don't want to watch that all the time, right? So there has to be something that is entertaining, and this is exactly what has to come up. Everybody has to come up with content quickly, not only the personal pictures you show with the digital camera, which is of course one of the largest
primary. It's a starting point.
Absolutely. Right.
That means that in America, the big major studios are now more digital, making the movies digital. It's coming more and more. Huh?
Well,
I think,
but that's been happening for a long time.
Yeah,
now.
but it's coming more and more that all traditional directors and so on say, yeah, we do everything digital.
Yes, but it still doesn't. In defense of people who still shoot in film, there are really high quality scanners that can get the film to the digital domain. Film isn't dead yet, and there are still people who are shooting in film.
Yeah, but the way it's splitting more and more.
Oh, of course, and
it's very dynamic.
I openly admit that, and I'm also learning in the process of working with the ASC. I'm learning there are some advantages to digital for which I wasn't aware. And
as an example?
Dynamic range. We talk about high dynamic range. We're talking about cameras that can do, well, here we go, geeked, but about 14 stops. So they have a huge dynamic range between black and white. I'll give you an idea of what that means. The Arri camera, which is a German camera, was used to shoot the most recent or the last space shuttle launch. And of course, everybody's seen a space shuttle launch, and as the rocket goes up, the flames are so bright that they effectively go white. I mean,
you see no differentiation.
They bloom, and the Arri has so much dynamic range that we can see every bit of detail that's in the flames. So we can see it going up, but the flames themselves are no longer blurred out. We have enough dynamic range in what they captured, so the flames aren't blurred anymore. All the detail that's in those flames is in the picture, even though the exposure of the shuttle going up is normal. You can look into the flames and you can see that every bit of detail is there. That's what I mean by high dynamic range. Something that is so bright, and yet you're exposing for this, and something that's so much brighter comes out. Every bit of detail is there. So that's something new. And I've discovered that my camera, I'm now shooting with a Nikon D800E, but it can do the same thing. I'm able to pull things out that the sky will look burned out, and suddenly it's blue and there are clouds in it. You know, you take a picture to expose it for the building that you're trying to photograph, and the sky is perfectly white. You take it back and process it, and you find that all the sky is actually blue, and there are clouds in the sky. It has the dynamic range to capture all of that. And that's one of the reasons we're talking about high dynamic range being a part of this new system, because the cameras are capturing it. It's just that we don't have the number of bits between black and white to convey that information. If we have more bits between black and white, we can suddenly convey a much larger dynamic range, and that could be an exciting part about ultra high definition television.
Fine. So what we would say? Yeah, that's it, huh?
Yeah, I think
for the moment, for the moment, part one.
Part one, right? But we should have a follow-up interview, maybe
yes, of course,
beginning of next year. So there is CS show.
Yeah, CS show. I think that would be also a for Ultra HD show, huh? I think so. Huh? There will happen a lot of things, no?
Right. Will you be there?
No, maybe, huh?
Yeah. Okay. So we have to make sure that we have a follow-up then and see how it goes. Yeah, there was a lot of
No,
it was a lot of hard facts and a lot of information. It would be nice to translate everything. We need to take a look. So I would say thank you very much. It was a big experience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, dann machen wir gleich mal weiter und wollen mal zeigen, was der Marcel hier sonst noch den ganzen Tag hier macht. So Marcel, we are now in the main part of your building with the company White Light Consulting. You explained last time in the German version of our first video what you are doing, but maybe you can repeat what you are doing here in your company. What is your job?
So what we have here is our testing facility. So we do all sorts of display tests for TV manufacturers mainly. So the TV manufacturers, brands, different names, come to us and give us pre-production or engineering samples and ask us how they can improve the image quality, the overall image quality. So we have a lot of equipment here, test pattern generators, spectroradiometers to measure color and the screen and the displays to analyze objectively the quality of the display device. And based on that, we create proposals, and those proposals are sent to R&D, to research development of our customers, and then we work actively on the improvement on consumer displays and consumer products.
And what time you get it before it starts with market introduction? Either 1.5 year or half year or some months?
Well,
so I see products from next year here, maybe?
Not yet, because we are under NDA, so we cannot show anything. But actually, it really depends. So sometimes we just get a call, and it's a product that has to be on the market maybe in a couple of weeks. So we almost have no time whatsoever. So we have to do a lot of work in a very short amount of time. Sometimes we have customers that come to us and we are in the product planning phase. So they ask us what should be in the product or what kind of panel characteristics should we use, or then we have much more time. So it really depends on the project and it really depends on the customer.
But you are focused on television screens, also on television, nothing with audio, nothing with loudspeakers or so, or is an additional market maybe?
Yeah, we do that. I mean, we are actually available as an external solution provider, so we do all sorts of technologies. But we are specialized on displays. When it comes to speakers, we work together with other companies, like a subcontractor, who have special equipment to do a decent testing for speakers. We don't have this here, but we can do that. We have customers, we do audio testing. It's not here, it's somewhere else, but we are the project managers so taking care of the whole project.
I see now here some televisions based on LCDs. What's about OLED? What's your opinion?
So OLED looks like a very promising technology, as we had in the, as we heard in the interview, but we did not have it yet in the laboratory. So what I would like to do is, we are speaking to manufacturers at the moment, and hey, there are only 2, right? So you can
really?
at the moment.
Yeah.
But we want to see if we can get one of those here, so that we can do some real testing on what the capability of this technology is. So we did not have the chance to do that yet.
How many people are working for you?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have 3 people, and one is head of laboratory, the other is doing marketing and acquisition, and then myself.
And you travel a lot, no? I see it on your Facebook.
Yes, we travel a lot.
I'm going to the airport there.
Right. Airport there, right.
Airport there.
And meeting here, meeting there,
Yeah,
and all those working groups we were talking about UHD, HD. So we are traveling a lot because we are attending all those meetings to see where the standards go and everything. Yeah.
And you have some nice certifications there, no?
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have some nice certifications, but this was just old stuff, actually, to be honest. A couple of years ago, we also were taking care of digital cinema, because if you really want to know how technology works, you really have to make sure that you are always at the edge of technology. So we take what we can take.
Okay, right. So when I go here this way, I would say this is a little bit technology inside, where you have different sources.
Right, so our way is we can route signals almost in every single room in this building. So that means we have the laboratory area where we do all the display testings in the dark rooms, but we can also route signals to the bright rooms, so where we do like daylight testing, so where we don't have to shut off all the light. So we have 2 server racks like this, and there are all the pattern generators and HDMI switchers and boards and whatever you can name it is in here. And TVs come here. And we have also a reference theater, which actually we call a screening room, because it's like a screening room. It's optimized for image and audio quality. So it's a reference projector, a DLP, and I don't go into this why we use DLP, but there are many reasons to use DLP in the first place.
Part 3.
Yeah, right. That's part 3, right. But we have a reference screen, a reference video system where we do quality check for content. So that means also, because we have production partners, so as we mentioned in the last interviews, the music
the 4K
concert
production, no?
for example.
That's part 4.
That's part 4.
Okay.
And we do also a lot of QC for other people who give us the content to have a look at content. But also do audio checks, because that's an acoustical treated room, so you have perfect sound, perfect picture. And also lectures, trainings, classes, people send in their people, so they get a video training about video standards, whatever. So that's all sorts of things that actually happens here.
So that means when I make a production on Blu-ray, I can give it to you and you can take a look on it and you say, okay, please improve or please change this.
For example. But this is only the smaller part, because we also work with Bavaria Film, for example.
Yeah, I know.
Bavaria Pool Service. And they have all that professional equipment. So normally it's like we do the final step, like a consumer product or whatever, to see if everything works fine, or to have a look at the reference picture.
So all the people which like home cinemas, let's explain a little bit what your kind of technology is here. You have Samsung DLP.
It's a Samsung DLP 1080p resolution. We have that's the large clip audio system. So it's the horn system. It's the THX Ultra 2, the biggest one actually they had at that time.
Is it 5.2?
It's actually 7.2, but we only run it with 5.2.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's 2 30-centimeter subwoofers with an external amplifier, and we drive all the other speakers with the Arcam AVR 600. So there's the new video board in there with a good pass-through, because that was one of the problems in the past. So you had filtering going on in the video signal when you had no pass-through option. Now they changed this with the new HDMI board, and now it works quite fine. And the sound is amazing. So that's in this combination, it's amazing. People walk in, they don't expect anything. They walk out, and you know the first shot is for free. And then they want to have all that stuff at home, you know.
Really,
so we spoil them, you know, for the rest of their lives. We have Oppo Blu-ray players. We have even an HD DVD player there, because some of the discs we had are available. But it's just, it's more retro, you know.
But this is nice retro.
Right. We have PCs here to play back UHD content, native UHD content.
Oh, I have a stick in my trouser here. I can maybe you can give me a copy of it. Yeah, okay.
Right. And the acoustical treatment, by the way, was done by RTFS. I maybe should not do all that sorts of commercial, but actually those guys are really good. So RTFS, Farshid Shalavandian.
Oh yeah. No.
So if you look for someone who really knows about acoustics, so they are the real good people. So they did all the acoustical treatment here.
Okay, but you have a very nice screen again, huh?
Right. So the screen is a gray screen. It's the Daylight. It's actually a JKP Affinity screen from Kane Productions, certified. We use a gray screen because it absorbs the rest of the light that comes out of a digital projector. So you get a much better dynamic range in the picture. And the uniformity of the screen, because that's a problem with gray screens, they have mostly they have a bad uniformity. You have a hotspot.
Hotspot, huh?
But you don't have hotspot here. So that's a really good screen. That's why we use it. And you don't have any structure in the screen as well. It's smooth, because if you have slight structure, it doesn't matter what kind of structure, you're gonna see noise in the image, which actually is added through the screen, because your eyes are just wandering around on the screen, and you see the structure of the screen, and that added noise actually is adding noise to the picture. So it's important that you have a screen that's smooth and that has no structure. And that's all actually realized with this one.
What screen size is it?
I think it's 2 meters. It's the width is about 2 meters. I don't know the. It's about 2 meters.
Okay.
Right.
Fine. Good. I think that was a nice view.
Yes. Thank you.
Inside here. So I think we will be in contact, because we have some new topics we can discuss and we can film in the next near future.
Yes.
The next one is maybe with the thing with the 4K production I saw on the IFA.
Right.
It was together with a music group. What was the name?
The Futuretainment.
Yeah, that was the one. No? That was a company, but the music group was, what was the name?
There was Boston, ZZ Top, Extra Bright.
Extra Bright. I saw it on IFA. It was very impressive. Yeah.
So there is a big event we are planning at the moment.
Oh, really?
Which will be some sort of UHD competence workshop. I cannot say more at the moment, but that will be a big event we are planning for the time frame October-November, more than November time frame. And we want to update, I would say, the industry about what's really going on with Ultra HD. So, and the plan is that you, as GROBITV, will be invited, and that you will be part of that group.
Fine.
So this, I think, will be the next big thing.
So you really get emails and telephone calls that the industry is really asking for more information about this. That's
number one. We get calls from journalists, from the press, because everybody is looking for information. But we also get a lot of requests about content, because everybody now is looking for high quality content. And I mean, going away from the stage, showing nice women walking slowly at the beach, you know,
green fields, on the
green
beach,
flowers, you know, bees.
Fantastic.
So we are really now going into the entertainment sector, and that's what everybody wants, actually.
Okay. So a good place to be informed is the GROBITV YouTube channel with the videos we are doing now at the moment. And
just check this URL, www.4k-concerts.com.
Okay,
so we have a making of. We have a making of there, about 20 minutes, about the first European multi-channel or multi-camera 4K production, the concerts. Perfect. So you can see everything there, how it works and whatever.
Perfect. Marcel, thank you very much for the time here.
Danke.
So, ich würde sagen, das letzte noch in Deutsch. Oh no, we would do it in English. Now we are speaking all the time English. Okay, so next time on the YouTube channel from GROBITV. Bye bye.